Okay, wait. Before you close this video, because I know you're all like, oh my god, Zeos, is that a pile of DACs? I don't want to watch a video about 7 goddamn DACs. No, don't worry. Let's pause Iron Maiden. Here's a deal. I'll make you a deal, because I know no one wants to watch this video. Like, DACs, I don't give a shit. I'm going to review 7 DACs, but it'll be a 2-part video where I'll go over the features here on this desk, because you know I built a DAC testing arena, but also in between the DACs, between every one of them, I'll throw a mini review of an anime, a TV show, or a movie that I really like. What do you think? This way it gives you something that isn't just a fucking DAC. Something you can actually enjoy between the talking about the DACs. So, if you agree to that, I'll do timestamps. You could sit and watch all the reviews of Farscape and whatever anime I'm watching. You stick around for that. But we got to talk about all these, all right? Deal? Deal. So, the reason I'm doing this video, the reason I've started it, other than to put a wallpaper out to the world, is because Fosi is like, hey, we're going to send you the ZD3, and can you get it out by this date? And I probably am not going to be able to get it out by the date they wanted. But it's like, do I want to do one DAC? Like one. Because then I'd have to do one for each one of these. No one wants to spend a whole month talking about them. So we'll do a tournament arc? Probably. I don't have the paper down here. It's somewhere else, and I got to erase the names off of it. But we've got quite a big selection of prices going on. In fact, I've opened them all up just to verify. Let me tell you what is here. This is every straight DAC in the house that I have not reviewed. All right, I'm not talking about DAC amp combos. I'm not talking about like FIO K19s. I'm not talking about speaker amps, although there'll be another one of these for just fucking speaker amps. This is just purely digital in, analog out boxes. So what do we have? Excuse me, ma'am. We have got in price order the topping E30 Mark II DAC for $150. We have got the Fosi ZD3 pre-order, which is currently $180 with a really cool round screen. I've turned it on, it looks nice. We've got the FX Audio DS07. FX Audio making a huge comeback with their weird chunky box. This is $289.99. We have got the SMSL SU9, which is like a old standard. Like, has this been here for 5 years? I don't know. Anyway, it's $459 for that one. Keep in mind, I do like SMSL DACs, like a lot. We've got the new SMSL Raw DAC1. I actually have all the Raw gear. There's a Raw MDA1. This is the Raw all-in-one. So we've got a lot of things going on Raw, and that's $499. We have got the SMSL D400 Pro. That's this bastard down here. That is $619, and topping the price charts of what's in the house currently, the topping D90 Mark III. Not the 1-bit one with the window on top. That one will show up at some point and probably get another review on its own. But this is $899 for this. So we have got everything from $150 to $900. Both actually silver toppings are the top and bottom of the list. And we're going to have to figure out, first we'll talk about them on the desk, what their inputs are, what their quirks are. Do they have a remote? Honestly, I got to go find out if they've got a remote. And then once we've discussed and figured out who the winner is for features, I will have to actually listen to them. Like actively, actually listen to them. So, before we start all that, I figure I'd give you a review right off the bat. Can we talk about Farscape? For those of you who don't know, Farscape is a TV show, a sci-fi show. Perhaps the best sci-fi show. It came out in the late 90s, and it ran for 4 seasons, and then was canceled, and then they had to come back because the fan base in the early 2000s, before Twitter was a thing, screamed so fucking hard that they had to make a 3-hour miniseries. It is 88 episodes. It was filmed in Australia by the Jim Henson Company of Muppets fame. You know Yoda? You know how Yoda is like an alien and everyone's like, oh, I love Yoda from the original Star Wars. Well, now imagine if Jim Henson and his son, who took over, did an entire fucking show that takes place in space with Muppets that are like, make Yoda look like the garbage puppet. It looks like fucking Oscar the Grouch compared to the shit they pull off on Farscape. And I'll give you a quick synopsis of the story. It's about a man named John Crichton who is an astronaut on Earth in the 90s, and he takes his experimental shuttle up into space. Whoopsie doodle, I accidentally created a wormhole. Gets shot to another part of the universe where, what the fuck is a human? And he is the only human in the show. Everybody else is a goddamn alien, despite them looking just like humans if they're peacekeepers or there's a couple other Sebastian-like races. Anyway, point is, if you want to watch what I consider the most emotional, the best act, the funniest, just fuck you, it's the best goddamn sci-fi. Star Treks can all suck my dick. Go watch Farscape, because it's a story of a man, just a man. Granted, he's an astronaut, which is kind of cool, but it's a man going from nobody in the other end of the galaxy to a famous person in the other end of the galaxy, and at the end of the series, a fucking infamous person in the other end of the galaxy. You want to see a character arc? Holy shit. All right? And that takes place over 88 episodes that are 45 minutes apiece. And, like, you cry when Muppets cry. Like, imagine that. Just fucking imagine it. And then go watch it. And it is available online right now on YouTube. Crackle has a couple episodes, or like some seasons. And there was another YouTube channel that was legitimately, like, the show's 25 years old almost. And not enough people. Like, if I could bring back a renaissance of Farscape, I would do it in a heartbeat. Because that show, I've got 4K upscales of it. And there's no live action sci-fi show that has ever touched it for the places it took me and the weird shit it did. And like, they rip out your eyeballs. It's like, you'd think, oh, Jim Henson, it'll be like a kid's show. Oh my God, no. Anyway, so now I'm going to stop the camera and I guess I'll take a look at least one of these. I figured I'd also use this as a chance to just burn through a bunch of wallpapers that don't really work when I'm looking down. So you'll get like 8 wallpapers in the wallpaper horde from this video. Aren't you happy? You should be happy. Anyway, we'll start with the Fosi ZD3 since this is the thing that kicked off this entire thing. And this is like, you're all like, oh, Fosi. Fosi makes good, clean, affordable stuff. By the way, I'll be at Capital Audio Fest, New York Can Jam, where I'm giving a thing. Axpona, I might have a table. And that'll be with the new amplifier too. And don't forget to check out the SoCal footage. All right, so that's my clipboard for reminding me to tell you things. So, okay, it's a DAC. What about it, Zeos? So interesting. So. Fosi has put a round screen on it, which I thought was off-center because when you look at it straight on, it cuts off the bottom lip. But really, what that is for is they figured out if you're going to be above it, it wouldn't fit through the window they had unless they downshifted it. So now it looks perfect. It also looks awesome. Like if you power it off, it says off, and then it fades out. You turn it on, it fades on. It says Fosi Audio. It's got this circle which tells you the bit depth. If you're a PCM or DST, or I don't think this is MQA. We're probably lucky it's not MQA. Your input, which can switch between optical, coaxial, HDMI, because it does have an HDMI in, and USB or Bluetooth, which will go into a pairing mode, and then your volume is here. So here's your remote, the back of the unit. It's designed to fit the, I forget the model of these amplifiers. These amplifiers are the ones that are currently using my center channel, left and right channels in the Little Narber Theater where I do the speaker reviews. There's also a switch in the bottom, we got a note, which is bypass or off. What that should be is line out or pre-out. It's not. It's bypass and off, and I'll explain that when I get to the full fudge review. Well, I mean, I think I just did. Because it's just going to be a sound after this. After I do this, talk about the thing, the next part will be, well, how does it sound? So, yeah, if you bypass the volume control, that means it's a line out. If you turn it to off, then the volume control is active and it's a pre-out. You follow me? Cool. XLR outs, RCA outs, coaxial digital in, HDMI ARC in, full-size USB in. It runs off of DC 12 volt, which is a little transformer, which is down there. You get your optical in, you get your Bluetooth with an antenna, which I don't have on because I never put them on. And then you have 12 volt trigger ins and outs, which is nice because the amplifiers that match this, which I will link in the description, just label them matching Fosi amplifiers, Zeos, will use 12 volt triggers, and it comes with a little trigger wire. So you actually get a really nice shape. It's got, the top is flat, but you get this little dent here. The bottom has the same dent, but there's also an indentation on the bottom, which you really can't see from the front. So why do it? The knob is digital, and the knob is replaceable. The first several hundred orders, when they order this, will have an option to get one with a 7 printed on it to celebrate Fosi's 7 years. I took that off because I'd rather have a plain orange knob anyway. The other thing that's going to make the listening test in this a little bit of a fucking nightmare for me is it comes with 3 swappable op amps. Because it's a Fosi amp, well, technically a DAC is still an amp. These have analog outputs, and you're going from a digital signal to a small analog signal and then pushing out. That's how DACs work. So I get to open this up and swap 3, probably 1 op amp for the single-ended and the 2 for the balanced, which means you could mix and match like I did on the Gishelli socketed DAC. So this and the Gishelli socketed DAC are the only 2 DACs I can think of. No, wait, own X8 Magic DAC. Those are the only 3 DACs I can think of that let you swap the op amps for the actual analog outputs. Also sounds like you're banging on a flagpole. You've all done that. Yeah, I do enjoy. Let's look at the remote for a second. So at the bottom here, you can see that they're repurposing this remote for everything they have. You literally hit the model number. So this is the ZD3, so that would be that. If you're controlling the ZP3, you'd hit that. If you're controlling the P4, you'd hit this. If you're controlling the BT20A Max, BT20A Max, does it have an infrared receiver on it? Anyway, you'd hit that. And you can shut the screen off, which, by the way, where the hell is it? Oh, I hit the wrong button. I'm controlling the wrong thing. So now, I love that it just fades in and out. It isn't just hard on and off. They didn't need to make it do that. It's just a quality feature. And since you have HDMI ARC and XLRs and RCAs and triggers, this would make an ideal addition, especially at its current price, which $180 is 20% off retail. When it eventually does just sell, it'll be over $200. But imagine putting this beautiful thing, and it is strikingly simple and pretty compared to even the rest of these things that are here. Just these little details do it. But this in the front of a living room, HDMI ARC coming into it, and then you hook up a good pair of studio monitors and a sub to this, and you can switch it to Bluetooth, and you get a remote, and you can see the volume from where you are, which it goes. It's actually a very, I've had much more expensive units that the knob isn't as nice as that, like tracking wise. She blips out at 80. I don't think there's any secret menus or anything. You can probably control the Bluetooth with these. Your volume's up and down here, so you get mode, you get reset, which I don't know if reset does anything. Let's see if I change the volume and hit reset. What does that do? Nope, nothing. So yeah, you can mute it, and it goes to a mute symbol. You can turn it on and off. This is going to be real intriguing for people who want, I want, Zeos, I need better sound for my TV. I'm talking about movies and TV shows and anime in between these. And you plop this beautiful bastard down right in your living room. You HDMI ARC into it, which is a thing. No. They have II2S, but not HDMI ARC. I don't think that's ARC. Yeah, so this might be the only one that is like fit and finish and designed to just throw it in a living room, ARC, signal source, studio monitors, done. With a subwoofer, done. So this is going to be, I hope it sounds good. I don't think it'll sound bad. And even if it sounds meh, op amp rolling, baby. That's going to suck as far as time goes. So yeah, I think aesthetics-wise, I think we might have the winner of aesthetics right here. Fosi has never made an ugly product. Well, no, correct. I have this thing. That's ugly. This is the K5 Pro Mini Stereo Gaming DAC. Shit's ugly. All right. Get to that when I'm doing gaming decks. Anyway, that's the end of this, at least overview. We're not listening to it yet. That'll come in a second video. But we got to talk about something. So I went to my list of anime, and I'm like, if I had to recommend just one for people who are non-believers, Girls Last Tour. I could tell you the Japanese name and butcher the living hell out of it. Hold on. Oh, Shoujo, Shuumatsu, Ryokou. All right, you got that? Anyway, Girls Last Tour is a very, very slow anime. There's no titties in it. Well, technically there's titties in it, but there's no like, it's not an ecchi anime. I wouldn't even call it an action anime. It's about two girls of indeterminate age. I don't know if they're 8 or 18 because the art style is fucking wildly simple on them. And these girls just travel what is essentially the wasteland of society. The world's ended. The war's happened. It's winter. It's nuclear winter. They're looking for food. But they're not sad. They're just going on an adventure. Grandma told them they need to go on an adventure, and they've got a fucking German half-track motorcycle, which I don't know how that's there. And they travel through what can only be described as a nightmarish fever dream cityscape where the cities, while being like bombed out wrecks, also have like multiple tiers on them, like it's some futuristic fucking world from 1,000 years in the future. But there's nothing there. And they just travel and they find it's the simplest little things that bring them joy. Like, oh my God, they found like a steam pipe from the old machinery that's still working and they get to take a hot bath. Or they find MREs and there's this thing called chocolate in it. And they don't know what the fuck that is because they've been living in the apocalypse apparently since their whole lives. And they try it and they're like, what's chocolate? Then they have discussions about fish and what a fish is. Like, it's the only anime that when you watch, besides Freerun, it's the only anime where a 23-minute episode feels like an hour easy and you don't want it to end. And just put on that first episode. And if it's too slow for you, don't watch it because it's all that slow. That pacing and there's just the banter between the two girls, and one's a really good shot with the rifle and the other one just likes to read books. And once you see the character art style of them, it's going to be like, what the fuck? Who did this? And then you watch the whole thing and you just have this cathartic journey because I don't want to spoiler the ending, but it doesn't go where you think it's going to go, but then it kind of does go where you think it's going to go. And it doesn't matter because it's beautiful the entire way through. In this bleak fucking dead hellscape with nothing but weirdly abandoned, like, it's abandoned like tanks and warplanes, but from like every generation. It doesn't make any sense that like an old World War II bomber will be crashed into this futuristic city. You have no idea. We have no idea what happened. And it doesn't matter. All that matters is that these two girls find a comfy place to sleep and food for the next few days, and maybe there's one or two people they meet along the way. That's it. That is, I don't even know if that's it's the least weeb recommendation you could ever make for an anime is Girls Last Tour. So go check that out on whatever streaming service or perfectly legal download you decide to do that on. And don't forget to get your don't forget to get your Mega Mean wallpaper. All right, let's shift gears now from the Fosi to something uglier. Okie dokie. That one, this one, small. So this is the smallest of the group. In fact, that's just like the same size, but stacked like 5 high. So this is the topping E30 Mark II. And it looks remarkably like other toppings, but I've had similar ones here before. It is a not balanced. It is a single-ended DAC, so you just get RC outs. You do get coaxial, optical, and USB in, and it runs off of this plug, which goes into a USB thing, which they do not provide. So you need to provide your own USB power supply for it. That's pretty much fine. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. Do you not have a place to plug in USB? What is this? 2003? Get the shit out of my face. This is going to be basically a sound test because it doesn't have much going on here. If we turn it on, 44.1, I have the optical cable plugged in from the computer so that you could tell what it's doing. There is no way to control the volume on the unit. Be cool if one of these was like a touch surface or there was like tapping buttons, but all this does is on off and then coaxial, USB, or optical. That's it. And then you have to have the remote, so don't lose your remote. This is an RC15A. I believe it's the one that comes with it. I grabbed it off the shelf. Mute puts it to lines. Unmute does that. You get your volume up in half decibel increments, which is actually really nice. And that happens, I think, all the way down the line. Yeah, even at like, let's see, where does this thing bottom out? Damn, 99. So you 99, 98. So it does not do half decibel increments until you get to probably 50 and above. Yep. 48 and a half, 49 and a half, 50 and a half. Oh, still goes. This is interesting. Oh my God. So the top 60 dB. In case you're at negative 60 and you really need negative 59 and a half, it has that resolution. I don't know what any of these other buttons do. There's your filter settings. So it has internal filters, 6 of them. You know, those are usually low. Fast roll off, brick wall, you know, high malicious intent. Auto, which is auto off or auto close, will be for the actual thing coming on. You can adjust the brightness level to 3 different brightnesses or automatic. Basic stuff, super basic. You get your volume and you get the left and right on these, change between inputs. That's it. Super bitch basic DAC. And sometimes that's all you need. Actually, I'm lying. This is the E30 II Lite. Just there on gray text, which I love so much. They wrote the word light on there. I'm just going to get the angle right of the camera. And there's also a high-res audio laser engraving, so that's fantastic. Yeah, this should perform just fine. Just fine. You know what doesn't perform just fine? The movie RRR. If you have not... All right, look. I'm a big fan of movies in general, and I've never watched a Bollywood movie. In fact, RRR is probably going to be most people's first Bollywood movie. And I know what you're thinking. Zeos, don't they just sing and dance in those movies? Yes. You know what those movies are? You see this? This is the Harmonic Dyne Eris. I took a chance with this headphone because it's just a crazy tuning with lots of bass and incredible, so much soundstage that it makes the mids dip and everyone's like, oh, it's got no mids. And I'm like, but you can't have crazy soundstage without doing that. There's no way around it. You have to, in other words, RRR, which is a 3-hour and some odd minutes long movie, and I'd open it on this laptop and it'd probably explode because I only have a 4K copy of it. But that movie, we had a movie night. We had to be forced to watch it. Someone picked it and said, you got to watch this movie. It did win like an Academy Award for something. That movie felt like someone just took the limiters off of what entertainment could be and legitimately just went, I don't know, fucking turn it up. And it's not like cheesy. I mean, it's cheesy, but it's not like, haha, we're going to watch this to laugh at it because it's an Indian movie. Ha. That movie goes so fucking hard that it'll probably make James Cameron blush. And like, how do I go about this? So we watched it, and it was 3 hours long, and just the intro credits on my big surround sound with the 150-inch screen had better surround sound than most movies do. And I find this with Japanese anime and with Bollywood movies, is American movies tend to be mixed in a very polite way where it's like, ooh, a wisp of wind blew past me. Oh my God, effects. And like fucking Evangelion movies and RRR are just like some dude sitting there looking at like 9 speakers he gets to play with. And he's just like, I don't know, make it go full volume here, then full volume here, then full volume here, then here and here. I was assaulted by surround sound, and I cannot tell you how relieving that is after just these like little like, ooh, listen to my surround sound. It goes, whoop. Nah, man, fuck me up. RR fucks you up for surround sound, and then the plot comes in, and every time anyone's at my house and I'm like showing them the theater, there's an 8 or 9 minute segment that is introducing a character at the beginning of the movie. There's 2 character introductions because the whole point of the movie is these 2 opposite ends have to journey together in all their conflicts, whatever. I don't want to spoiler it. I really don't. But they introduce a character, and for 8 or 9 minutes, the most fucking wild fight happens where it's like hundreds of people that actually exist, not CGI because it's India, and they literally go, hey, anybody want to do this? And they're all there, are choreographing this fucking one dude going to get this other dude, and he's like jumping over a fence, and then there's fire, and then like I think that's a punch a cow, and they're like he's like, I don't know how they filmed inside a pile of people, but the coordination was like, honestly, some of the best filmmaking I've ever seen. Filmmaking. And you're just like, holy shit. And after you show people that, they usually watch the movie. So put on RRR. If you can get through 20 minutes, just like an anime episode, 20 minutes is one episode. Get through 20 minutes of RRR. And if you don't feel like continuing that fucking storyline, then don't. But you're in for a treat if you get near the end when all the CGI animals show up. Because you can't do that sort of... You can't throw tigers and leopards and stuff, but they can. Yeah, that movie fucking slaps hard. Harder than any of my videos have ever slapped. So if you don't like Bollywood, give it a chance. And I recommend finding a copy that has good English audio, because a bunch of British people who are dicks. Like, if you... We had an American Revolution, for those of you who are international. The British are fine now, but there's always that nagging feeling in the back of your head that Golden Sound just wants to tax me. And I'm like, I have to throw his fucking Warwick in the river. And, or in the bay, the battle, but yeah, whatever. I know my American history. And like, I feel like the Indian-British relationship is far worse. And you can tell when they put a British person in the goddamn movie, they're a piece of shit. And it was that kind of upset me more than anything. Anyway, go watch RRR. It's fantastic and sounds great. And honestly, that one actor dude with his shirt ripped open, I'm not gay, admittedly. But if I had to, that fucking guy. Oh, are you trying to understand why I put anime figure like girls on top of these things? They're so boring. Anyway, this and Froppy are the SMSL SU9. Now, this just looks like it's straight out of the past. Like, this doesn't even remind me of what year it's from, and it's relatively new. It has 3 legs, which I gotta give it props. 3 feet is the way to go. That is the most interesting thing about the build of this DAC, is that it has 3 legs and not 4. Standard aluminum case. You got a pretty good selection. At least that's a USB-C instead of a full-size USB. Coaxial optical Bluetooth antenna. XLR's out, RCA out. The menu is the standard menu for all SMSLs since the dawn of fucking time, where you get to choose the inputs, you get to choose the outputs, whether you want all or just balanced or just unbalanced, which can be helpful if you're using 2 different amplifiers and for some reason you don't want them all going at the same time. Your PCM filter, your DSD filter, sound color, which is a feature that's pretty unique to SMSL, and this, keep in mind, is like a $460 DAC or $419. It's not cheap, so you want to have like some features. So there's sound 1, 2, 3, and 4. On previous revisions of this with sound color, there was an option for no color, and then crisp or tube, or was crystal, tube, and something else. There was another third option that was like, at least you understood, or you could turn it all off. And the true audiophiles, who I like to call myself and assholes, will just head it to no sound color. God, I don't want to color my sound. That would be horrendous. Whereas at the end, I actually turned on sound color because, fuck it, I want to listen to music. But this has a weird setting where it's just 4 settings, 5.6M or 11M, which I think that means million, and I'm not 100% sure where that integrates into any of this. But there you go. So you're going to get a sound color of some sort regardless. This, by the way, is using Saber DACs. I should have mentioned previously that I think the Fosi's using AKM, or you using AKM. I'll go over it. You get to choose if the pre is a full line out or pre-out. The function key in the front, whether you want it to quick switch with IMP outputs, Bluetooth, or the phase, audio phase, the dimmer, when the screen turns off the brightness, and then that's it, reset. That is basically it. You get this screen. The letters PCM are in like a chubby, weird, like kid font, And then optical is like this really clean, neat font. And then that, at least it's big enough. At least it's big enough. Again, these DACs should all work in the living room scenario. They just don't have HDMI ARC. So an optical cable for your TV would still do the same thing that I was talking about with the Fosi. And your remote, this is the RC8C. I believe this is the remote. I pulled it off the wall. I got to literally fucking, here's every... We got the D, the A, which the A is marked with a D. It's A. And then I got the C, and then I got an old SMSL remote just to make sure all the... Don't you dare fall. Stay. So this, your simple volume up and down, nice and visible, and you can go past 0. A lot of them do 2. This one does 1.5 above 0. And then you have your input select, your function button, which we could program. You can mute it. It'll say mute in red. And then if you hit enter, you go into, oh God, I'm playing with that one now. Stop it. They obviously use the same remotes. Oh no. That is a nicer, newer, to compare, this is the new raw MDA. And that, while it has the same options, look at it. It's got nice little icons, something different. There's UI styles you can change, and oh, it's great. So this doesn't have any of that. It's got a little tiny little nothing knob that you can turn. It's like knob, and this had better sound as good as everything else here to get like a recommendation, because it don't look like it wants to be good. It looks plain Jane, and that might be just all you want. I feel like if you're gonna spend $400 fucking dollars, though, you're probably unmute that. That's a good thing. It's unmuted from here. You're probably going to want something a little bit fancier. I mean, shit. For this money, you can get an entire Hi-Fi Man EF500 and then have an R2R DAC with a headphone amp in its heavy giant box. So you better do something, SMSL. But you know what doesn't need, well, actually does need an introduction, or I would be talking about it. If you're going to talk about things you're not going to normally find on your own, CastleVania. All right? It actually isn't CastleVania, just CastleVania. 2017 Netflix show. Based on, all right, so here's the deal. Anime exists. Anime is made in Japan. Konami exists. Konami is a game maker from Japan. Konami in the 80s and 90s made the game for like Nintendo and made CastleVania the game in like the dawn of the fucking console eras. So a Japanese company made a game called CastleVania. And then fast forward to 2017, where Netflix, an American company, gets the rights and then makes an American animated adaptation about a Konami Japanese game. So it's American animation. And it basically set the standard for what I want to see out of a fucking video game adaptation. Because, I mean, whatever. Castlevania was about you're obviously fighting vampires. Vania, Transylvania, Castlevania. It's not very... But holy fucking shit, did they just balls to the walls. If you don't know if you want to watch it, because it is 4 seasons, the first season is 4 episodes. 4 25-minute episodes. That while that is like 2 hours, think about that. And they didn't know if this was going to be a hit, so they made 4 straight episodes, straight fucking banger episodes with the most incredibly creative fight scenario. Like the fighting animation in that first 4 episode season with the Cyclops and the end boss is just like, it felt like Disney was resurrected from the grave. Like, I'm talking good Disney. I'm talking like Sleeping Beauty Disney. And then given a nonstop diet of current day caffeine and then told to creatively make a brutal fight between a hunter and a vampire and a fucking magician. And it's like, what? And then the voice actors, and I only watched it because the Trash Taste Boys talked about the voice actors, because Connor is a voice actor. And they're all British. Well, they're British and Australian. And they're like, yeah, when they have a British person talking in that show, they're British. They're not pretending to be British. They just got people who are rough, tumble fuck faces and really solid voice actresses. And oh my God, please go watch CastleVania. If you get through the first 4 episodes, which is the first entire season, you're going to watch the second season, which everything I said, and now Dracula. That's all you got to know. And then there's a season 3 and 4, which are like, where do we go in 3? And just go with it. And then there's a new series out, which is CastleVania Nocturne, which takes place like a few hundred years in the future. And the first season was all right. The animation was good, but the story isn't the same as the original. Just watch the original Castlevania. If you love it as much as I do, you'll watch Nocturne, which is just 1 season out. We're waiting for the second season, or at least the second half of the first season. It was shorter. I don't know. Please, for the love of Dracula and his love of his life, which was a human woman, oh my God, the story is so good. Go watch Castlevania. Can you tell what I like more? DACs or fucking media that I can consume? This is why I'm the reviewer I am. Get through this shit, because the fun stuff that you listen to on it is way better. So, there. That represents disappointment. I'm doing this. FX Audio. I have ever-growing respect for you as a company. You did that one really amazing collab. And now you've brought out a DAC that's in the form factor of literally a brick I want to throw through a window. Now, I have 2 monoblocks upstairs that will match this, which will make it cool looking, but on its own, if you were just walking through a store and all of a sudden it was like, brick, I don't think many people are going to be into brick. Brick is an odd shape. Brick works. You know what? To someone, brick is the best thing ever. But not to Zeos. I mean, maybe to Zeos. If I turned it on its side like this and the screen rotated, I'd have much more respect for brick. But brick is currently being very much a brick. A fucking brick. So, 4 feet, which are in recesses, so even if you pull them out, it won't be a flat surface, in a brickish box with it kind of, you know what this reminds me of? And I thought about it right before I started the camera. Like, if you look at the screen and the colors and the yellow to the reds and the way the fonts look, this is like Blade Runner. This is like Wayland Industries fucking module 8349FX DS07 high quality audio decoder, and just pull it out and you go get some fucking noodles and shoot a girl in the back. This is weird. I'm a weird guy. Look, Eris is mine. If you don't know, I'm going to cop. This is how I promote Eris. It's just in the frame every time I'm doing anything. Do you know I have a headphone? You know it's the bassiest fucking headphone on the planet Earth? And it's easy to drive. And it's $250. And this is glass and it's aluminum. See, I'm going to just... Seamless integration. This is such a weird... All right. Get the lines. This is all aluminum, by the way. So it's not like it's shitty plastic. This is way nicer than anything Creative Labs has ever put out. And it's just a big box. It is a little bit costly comparatively. This son of a bitch is $289 using a Saber DAC, Bluetooth 5.1. It claims to fame it has a 1.54-inch full-color LCD display. It says a bunch of other things, and then it says MQA, and I fade out. So there's the front. We'll talk about the screen in a second. There's the back, which I think, if I'm an engineer, I love this. Power supply on the bottom. It's like a computer. Power supply on the bottom. You got your analog outputs there. You got a stack of inputs. USB, optical, coaxial. Fucking Bluetooth antenna is hidden behind the top of the unit. You know what? I'm starting to fall in love with this fucking cube design. I'm sorry I called you, brick. You're actually cube. So, filter 2, output XLR, optical, PCM 44.1 with a volume indicator, which is... I think it goes up to 100. We're going up to 100? Nope, goes to fucking 99. Full color screen doesn't go to 100. It could literally have turned into a dick butt if it wanted to. The whole screen could flash a dick butt. When is the company going to have a sense of humor? But, by the way, this does have a remote control. It's got an infrared receiver right there. God and country, I don't know where that remote control... Oh my God, is that it? Daddy found the remote. Fuck yeah. That's the remote of Lost Souls down there. Those are the Lost Souls remotes. That one doesn't have a label on it. That one's for the Quest dial, which is in the other part of the room. So yeah, here's the remote. Great. We'll continue this review. In, which is input. which is nice. It says in. Oh, it's white text until it locks. Is it playing music now? Huh. Why isn't it locked? Did you come out? Oh, maybe the thing just changed. Oh, whatever. Anyway, I thought it was white text. So you either hold this down to get to this menu or you hit the OK button on your remote control, which you obviously wouldn't lose because you're a professional YouTube audio reviewer. You don't lose things. So you get 3 choices at the bottom to pick what unit you're fucking with. DAC, amp, or player. So I put on amp, then nothing happens. I put on amp, then nothing happens. Put on DAC, and then I can control the volume. Does it go faster than that? Or does it literally stop working? It's not bad. Power, mute. Mute says mute. Very small. I mean, if you can visualize the rod growing, giggity, then you can tell the volume from afar. But I would prefer, if you're going to use this in like a living room scenario, a big fucking display with numbers. You're at 32 dB, sir. Don't blow your shit up. What does EQ do? EQ changes the filter, which isn't really an EQ. It's a whole fucking thing. The next track, last track, I don't think I'm going to do anything unless you're on the Bluetooth. And then when you power it off, it just basically turns the screen off. I doubt. Oh, FX Audio, 12 years. Took 12 years to make. And then it does click on with a relay. So, yeah, it does actually turn off. God, again, I got to get my printer and its like ability to print 11 by 17 sticker paper. Because it prints 22 by 17. But I have 11 by 17 sticker paper. And that means I could print out something that I could literally custom Ahagao wrap entire units. I just don't. Because I'm an idiot. Anyway, yeah, that's a cube. It's like the Cybertruck, where I love the Cybertruck because everyone hates it. Because it looks like the future I drew as a child, and we're never going to get there in my lifetime unless some motherfucker with all the money in the world and influence makes the drawings he had as a kid to force the world there. It's whatever you want to say about the man. He certainly is a 6-year-old with a crayon. Yeah. Now it says optical and 44.1. It went green. I might secret love this. But on the outside, I'm too cool for that shit. Get that cube out of my fucking face. Oh, well, we got to talk about a thing. Oh, I highlighted it, so I remembered, because it's important I remember. On the edge of disappointment here with June Kim, 21, She Hates You. And this weird shit, which I'm into because at least it's different, all right? At least it's different. We need to talk about Tower of God, which is an anime based on a Korean manhwa, which manhwas are like Korean comics, but they scroll vertically, so they're way better than anything Japan has done. Get in shape, Japan. Tower of God Season 1 is the only anime in the history of my weeby fucking nature that I've ever watched multiple times. I don't rewatch things. Like, only in some recent shows, like ReZero, I didn't remember what the fuck went on, because it's been going on for 9 years. Will I rewatch it But I have watched the Season 1 of Tower of God as many times as I can whenever I'm bored, because the animation style, and that's the thing, it's not even like apparently getting to the good part of the story, because everyone knows what the story is going to be. It's only 12 or 13 episodes, but the animation quality of Season 1, just the thick lines and the fights and the music is Kevin fucking Penkin. You want to bring anime and shit into this realm of audio? You discuss the soundtracks of anime. And Kevin Penkin, the Australian, who just needed to be where he be, does a soundtrack for Tower of God that, in my personal opinion, might rival Made in Abyss. All right? Made in Abyss is very emotional, but holy shit, tactility is what Tower of God. So you watch this show about, well, there's a tower, and at the top of it is God, and if you kill God, you get to be God. And we may never get to the end of the tower. It's one of those things that's like, yeah, tower, climb the stairway to heaven. It's 54 billion steps. But the point is, you start out the bottom, and you fucking murder your way to the top, and sometimes you make friends, and sometimes you make enemies, and it's got these weird rules, because imagine whatever, like when you think about anime and how weird anime is, it's usually because of the history of Japan. Well, fuck that. History of Korea is even weirder, and that whole shit is like infused into like the death games and the the puzzles they got to solve, and the fucking rack. Rack. R-A-K. My boy. Anyway, go. Oh, so the reason it's disappointing is because season 2 is currently airing. And it changed studios. And none of the characters on it for the first 10 episodes of the characters from the first season. Oh, and did I tell you the studio that animating it sucks? Oh, and as far as Kevin Penkin and the music, I don't know if they paid him or didn't pay him, but it seems like they took one of the good songs from the first season, the one that sounds like that fight scene from the beginning of the Blade, original Blade with Wesley Snipes. They took the soundtrack from Tower of God season 1, that one song, and it's like a laugh track button where it plays, and then bad dialogue and animation and characters I don't know or care about. Seriously, fairy tale levels of shit. And I didn't even watch Fairy Tale. I just know. Not Berserk 2017. Nothing's that bad. But just bad. They showed a group photo and I literally paused it and nearly cried at how bad the animation was. But yeah, they just play the same music and I don't know the characters. But here's the thing. There's a glimmer of hope. This has a glimmer of hope in being my favorite. This season sucks because we're not doing anything. And let me put this to you. In the first season, we do things, we meet people, we fight. It's great. If you have a second season and you're not going to do anything, and you know you're not going to do anything, you'd save your money on that season, right? You wouldn't pay Kevin Penkin. You got to save that shit. You got to save your budget for season 3. For the love of fucking God, whoever's making Tower of God, please get every single human being and sandwich and office space that you got for season 1, drop it on 3. Because 2 is a filler season. You could read the fucking cliff notes for it and not be... Who gives a shit? 2 sucks. It's like a quality bar of oh. All right, there's where a quality bar for season 2 is. Anyway, that's the FX Audio DS03. We'll move on now. Okay. Let's get raw. Which, for some reason in my head, when I heard that, and I'm like, wait, isn't this that one that uses raw rip encoding, which doesn't... No. That's the Cyan 2. What I think about when I think of this is what I actually experienced with the Cyan 2 DAC, which you didn't see. That was a $1,300 DAC. I'm peeling off the high-res wireless sticker. It belongs on my metal over there. So let's just put that there on top of the fake sticker. So it turns out it's just, they call it the raw. Don't know why. Doesn't actually add anything to the mantra or the mystery or what it's doing. Oh, it doesn't, encode the things. Whatever. Another kind of boring box, but this is probably the newest thing on the table. The Fosi's obviously the newest thing on the table. So as far as looks go, I don't... Okay, so the back box, on some of these it's really nice aluminum. On most of them it's really just nice aluminum. This, steel box in the back, but nice aluminum fascia. Does that matter to you? Meh. Does it matter to me? Meh. I mean, it says $500, but this seems to be the way it's going, where a lot of them are going cheaper steel boxes. Why the fuck spend probably $10, $12 more each unit? They do add this nice aluminum fascia, which curves down at the bottom, which I kind of like. But then you have this nice lip here, which is on the bottom. So you don't see it because it's on the bottom. They may have made this upside down. I might have gone a different direction. The screen, however, unlike the SU9, which is the old school one, this is the new school one. It's sexier. It's smoother. It's brighter. It has pictures. I like pictures. Remote. When you turn it off, I like this feature. Watch this. Look, a red standby slash. I grew up with household equipment that was from the 80s. You turned off a 1992 CD player, you know what happened? A little red light came on to show you that it was plugged in, but not running. SMSL brought it back. I cannot tell you both the nostalgia and the fucking thankfulness, because I know exactly what's going on. Oh, this unit is plugged in, powered on, just turned off. It was the universal fucking symbol. This way in your room, you have little red lights instead of fucking blue ones. or nothing, which is even worse. So let's turn that back on now that I've had my little rant. So you get the basics of the volume. You go down, it goes down, blah, 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 blah. Probably down all the way to doing 60 or 80 or 100. Probably 80. Nope. Oh, it goes 99.5 and then mute. I like that. I mean, so that means, wait a second, hold on. So I can go up. So what if I go way back up? Way back up. Can I go mute? And then up from 99? Nope, it brings you back to that. Okay, so that didn't work. But press button. Look how nice this menu is. It's the same exact thing as the other one. Same exact thing, only just so much nicer. Just because a little icon that goes, that's an input, that's an output. That's a PCM filter, DST, sound color, pre-mode, function, II2S, audio phase, UI style, which we can go universal or graphics. We just switch the UI style. Language, dimmer, brightness, reset. Like, you know what all these do, right? Sound color is the same as that one, where it's sound 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.6, 5.6, 11 million. Your outputs, you get to choose all, and look at the pretty pictures. Again, I like pretty pictures. Hold this, get out of it. Okay, so there's the, you have this, so you can put it back to this style, which is like what that does, or you could stop being dumb. I said stop being dumb. There we go. Stop being dumb and set the UI style to that was universal. The graphics style is this style. I much prefer this. Picture of a SPDIF, PCM 441, picture of XLRs. Fucking gorgeous. Back of the unit. Interesting. This remarkably looks a lot like my Denafrips Aries in the fact that it has 4 fucking SPDIFs, 2 opticals, 2 coaxial digitals, an II2S, which I have back there and will probably test with, USB-C, your Bluetooth antenna, full-size thing with power switch, and then your XLR and RCA outs. So it's pretty basic in the back, except for double. So you would specifically hunt this down if you're one of those people who just has, for some reason, 2 things that only have optical, or you have 2 things that only have coaxial digital, and you can't convert them with a little $15 Zeos in the description. Link the universal coax or fiber to coax and fiber adapter. It's like $15. So if you only have one, you can switch to the other, or you could use it as a rudimentary splitter to get both, but you only have one input. Anyway, this thing. I'm interested to hear it, because SMSL has done amazing shit at the $1,000 mark, and it's slowly trickling down, and this is exactly half price. So if this sounds like last year's $1,000 SMSL DAC in my listening arena, forced to be reckoned with. Now, back to movies. We need to talk about Birdman. 2014's Birdman. That is not a recent movie. It won an Academy Award. I might have won Best Picture. I don't think it won Best Picture, but it won something big. Best Director, maybe. During movie night, we had a lot of regulars. And we cycled. It was like 16 people. And we went 1, 2. So it took 16 weeks to come around to your pick. And the movie I picked for that week was Birdman. And everyone showed up. Everyone watched it. And before the next movie night, one of the members of our group passed away. He was an older guy. He was in Z Cooks Forever. I'm crying a little bit. He was awesome. He would come up with great movie picks. He'd have good discussions. He would send cookies to my sister and Mandy. Like, Wales was awesome. My movie pick was the last movie he watched. And when I found out the thing and I thought about that, because he had to come off the list, I was so happy I picked Birdman, because it is legitimately one of the best movies I've ever seen. Wow, I'm actually crying. Holy shit, Zeos has an emotional core of people and memories. Anyway, on to Edward Norton's dick. Edward Norton's dick is almost in this movie. It's referenced several times. Michael Keaton, like the meta. There's several things about this movie. First, it's filmed as if it's one take, where they're like pan in a hallway or they're going down some stairs, and everyone who was upstairs not meeting, you go down the stairs, and all of a sudden everyone's ready to. It's about Michael Keaton, who plays an actor in Hollywood who starred in 1980s superhero films. In this case, he was Birdman. And he had 2 or 3 really successful things, and then his career went, kind of like someone named Michael Keaton in our world, who after Batman, it was just, he's Batman. And now, so the premise of the movie is he's putting on a play. He's putting on a play on Broadway. He wants to be considered a serious actor and a serious writer, and not just some asshole who was a superhero in the 80s and 90s. And they do it in the style where they constant film, and so he's never out of frame for more than like a minute or two, but then it comes back and it's always focusing on him and like his journey. And then the actors are bad, and then Edward Norton comes in. And here's the thing, when you watch an actor play an actor, that's something special. Emma Stone plays an extra, plays his daughter, so she's just whatever. But you watch Edward Norton talk like a normal human being and then put on an act on a play, and it's like, oh fuck, that's what they do. And the music is one of my favorite things to play of all time. It is just literally one dude on a drum kit, and he appears in the movie. They actually are walking when they're doing the non-stop filming. Let's go to the theater, and there's a guy just playing it, and it's the fucking guy who's making the entire soundtrack. And it's so surreal. And there's things that happen, like, is this a supernatural movie? Like, we don't know. And fucking Zach Galifianakis fucking kills it. As a believable friend and manager and psychopath, and I love him. Go watch Birdman. I got to incidentally pick someone's last movie on this earth, and I was okay with that choice because it was Birdman. I can't tell you anything else. It's just, it's the best movie about acting that I've ever seen actors act in the best movie. So, the old standby. I say that because I think everybody in this video who's watching it right now either owns or knows somebody who owns a topping D90. And there were several revisions. I'm talking about the OG D90. In fact, I had one not far from here, and I was using weird adapters out of the XLR outputs into a 4.4 to like play IEMs directly out of a DAC, which you shouldn't do because it could damage the DAC. If the impedance is weird, it'll freak out the circuitry. But just want to say, I took out a D90, the original OG D90, and that fucking thing sounded so good. Now, the D90 was like the default. I remember, you know what? To this fucking moment, I think if you go to a Can Jam, Masada-san, the maker of the goddamn Mass Kobos, the Japanese man, uses a topping D90, a version 1 topping D90 to show off all his goddamn equipment. Hey, you want to buy a $17,000 headphone amplifier? Good, listen to it on this 6-year-old topping DAC. That's how good his amplifiers are, because you still buy one. Now this is the newest of the new, and it looks no different except for the fact that actually it doesn't even say what it is till you go to the bottom. Then it says it's a TP21B, which it definitely isn't that. So this is the D90 Mark III. Look, it's got gold feet. This is like when you're getting something appraised on that show when you're in Vegas. It's like, oh, I'll give you $5 for it. I'm like, no, it's got the gold feet. It's the Mark III. So, the first major improvement, and also possibly most infuriating thing about it, is the remote control. Because you see, while it has an infrared blaster, I could put this under the table and I could still control things because it's a Bluetooth remote, which you don't have to pair. As soon as you turn it on, it's already paired. It does fine. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's fine, and sometimes it's not fine. And when it's not fine and it has to wake up, you're staring at the remote for 5 seconds while the light blinks. Okay, and now it's fine again. And it's a $900 DAC. And it sounds fucking, it's a dual sabers, which is like my thing. Unless you're a ROM DAC, which is a whole other category, or you're an R2R DAC, you give me them dual sabers, bruh. So, either this is a benefit or a detriment that the remote is wireless. You do get your custom buttons on this remote where you get to set everything up. So right now I have optical RCA at negative 30 dB. Hold down C, saved. So now if I go and change my line out to be XLR, and then I change my input to be, II2S, and I lower the volume down to 46. So now it goes II2S XLR 46. I just go, and I don't have to bring it up, I just go boop. And it's back to exactly where I wanted it. Super fucking convenient. You have an input, your XM fucking radio, and it's a little bit louder, so you have to lower it down, and you want it to go through the RCA out, which is for the speakers in the den, not the speakers in the fucking kitchen, because you have to split out, and then you can just be like, remember one, and it does the thing for you. It's almost a shame that they don't have 4 saved presets, because I think that would be tip-notch. By the way, look, it's not a bad headphone stand as long as the wires can clear the thing below it. Yeah. So, that being said, let's go through let's look at the unit. Standard button, which lets you pick the input right on the front of it. So we'll go back to past Bluetooth, right to optical. Hold button here to get to the menu. I'm sorry. Hold button apparently does pairing mode. Oh, God. Undo. Cancel. Fail. All right. Abort mission. Outputs, II2S input, coaxial digital input with a cap over it, not Wi-Fi, Bluetooth input with a cap over it, USB full size, optical AES, which is basically just long range coaxial digital. So I think you could even get an adapter to make that work, but I'm not sure. And this has 12-volt trigger ins and outs, which was only also on the Fosi. So if you're interested in actually controlling larger equipment, like I'm talking about, you could put this in some sort of like whole house system in a closet and have it connect and do all sorts of things. As long as you could keep this remote around, you could switch things out of sight, line of sight. It is 100 to 240 volt compatible, so you don't have to worry about that. Oh, back here it says D90 III Saber. So flip this bitch back on. By the way, you know how to get to the secret menu? Because there's a secret menu. All these toppings have secret menus. And it took me forever to figure out how to get there. And I got to clean this screen off. It's actually damaged. So when you hit the button, you switch through. Great. There's your output. Now wait. Oh, if I hit the button. No. If I hit this button again, it's going to go into pairing mode. So we hit this. Does nothing. Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go. So PCM filter mode 2. Valve sound is right, or transistor sound, or sound mode off. So how's that for sound mode? Because the other SMSL stuff had 4 things, or like 1, 2, 3, 4, we had no idea what they are. This has valve sound, or transistor sound, or no sound, or sound mode off. So a valve is a tube. Tube amps are valves. So when you put on valve sound, it should sound like it's a tube amp. Tube sound. Great. But then you go to transistor sound. Now, I don't know much about electronics history, but I'm pretty sure we're still using transistors. So shouldn't transistor sound be what this is anyway? Because I could turn on transistor sound, or I could turn on no sound mode. So I know what a tube is trying to imitate. What the fuck is transistor trying to imitate? And do I want it? Or it just sounds like it is. So there's your 3 sound modes and your $900 thing, which, by the way, this screen is so low resolution, it's like I could even play Pac-Man on it. You do get to adjust the balance, which is a rare fucking feature. Nothing we've looked at so far has had a balance adjustment on it. You also get 2 SPDIF modes, and I forget what those are for. Might be for MQA shit. We don't want to learn about that. And that's it. That's all you get is 4 options here. However, if we turn off the unit, which I guess we have to hit back, turn off the unit. See you, Space Cowboy. If we turn off the unit in the back, press and hold this, I believe, and flip it on. Nope, that wasn't it. Press and hold this and flip it on. Is that it? No, that wasn't it either. Maybe it was this. Press and hold this. Flip it on. There you go. Oh, DFU mode. That is not the mode we want. That's even worse. Hold on. I'm going to get this. Zeus is going to get this. He's just got to wait a second. Flip it on. There we go. Secret menu. So now instead of 4, we have 19 fucking selections. Auto on and off. Display high-low auto. Line mode, line out mode, pre or full DAC output. Line outputs. You wanted to set to RCA. Bluetooth off or on. PCM filter. II2S phase. II2S DSR. IS2 flag. The 0 dB level on the XLR being 4 or 5 volts outputting, which is nice. Your USB setting for 1 or 2. Transistor sound, sound mode off, valve sound are also available in here. I'm going to leave it on sound mode off for when I actually go to listen to this. Phasing normal, balance again. Volume step. Do you want the volume step 1 dB or half a dB? You have the option. SPDIF mode again, Bluetooth clear, save and exit, and factory reset. And then you hit save and exit or factory reset, and it restarts, and it's your normal low resolution screen. This is going to be... It's got some nice shit going on. People might think that the Bluetooth remote is a godsend. You don't have to point at it. Like, all right, I'm hitting it. 5, 6, up there it goes, 7. The 7th press, it finally worked. Just constantly hitting the down arrow. You're going to experience it. And you only have to wake it up every 10 minutes, because how often I have to change volume? Every about 11 minutes. So if you can get past that, or if the thing works in your favor, then that might be... I know how good it sounds. I know how good it sounds. But you know what? I don't know how good it sounds. Or didn't. So the show, Succession, which apparently is done. And I had 2 of my friends gang up on me in Chicago. If you watch the Chicago Axpona footage from 2024 after the eclipse, I was with my friends Ryan and Evan. And they both ganged up on me. And were like, you haven't seen Succession? Ugh! And I just fucking like made me watch it on the giant projected wall. We watched the first episode on Sushi's projector, which was like a $5 projector on this 20-foot wall. And I could barely see what was going on. Anyway, Succession is one of 2 things or a blend of these 2 things. Tell me if you like these 2 things. Do you like Game of Thrones-esque politics and infighting and battles? And do you like Always Sunny in Philadelphia's non-likable characters? Because if you watch Game of Thrones, like the first 5 seasons, they were so good, and it wasn't just they did fight and there's titties, although that wasn't a bad thing. They really need more titties. But it was the political drama, the scheming, like it was clever, and it was like you felt that is in Succession. And also, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where if you've watched that show and you don't know why you don't quite like it, it's because most shows have a character you can root for. And although this should probably be its own thing to talk about, in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you should root for no one. They're all terrible people. Dennis is a murdering rapist, essentially. And Charlie, while innocent, is just not a person anyone should want to be around. And oh my God, can we just Mac and D and just Frank and Now, imagine if those people were fucking billionaire heirs to the largest media conglomerate in America and probably in the world. So you have this political fucking motivated takeovers and then the whole point of the show is called Succession, because in the very first episode of the very first season, the head motherfucker in charge legitimately like has like a half stroke, and they're the children who all are like one of the actors is Macaulay Culkin's brother. Now, I've seen Macaulay Culkin on like Red Letter Media, like modern day, and I'm like, God damn, he's not fit to act. No offense, Macaulay, if you're watching. But then this guy shows up who's his brother, and he's a spitting image of Macaulay Culkin. And he's one of my favorite fucking actors now, just from this show. He acts exactly like you'd imagine a little shithead Macaulay Culkin brother to act, but that's his character in the show. He's like the demented, twisted pervert. He's like my favorite, but he's like, it's like any episode of Always Sunny. While he is my favorite for the things he says and the way, I should not be rooting for him. I shouldn't be rooting for the drug-addicted son or the absolute C-word daughter or fucking just nobody. Nobody. There's only one character on that show that you like, and you meet him immediately. I mean, he might be the first thing you see in the first episode. And Greg. It's the only way I say Greg now. Greg. So yeah, you have head asshole who's built a business from the 50s forward, who's getting old, dying, and they're trying to make him retire. And the whole show is just this family. And like they get on private planes every time and no one talks about it. Like it isn't like, oh, we're rich. They just exist. It's like watching through a looking glass of, these people exist in real life, where they have like a dinner made and you could tell it's all lobsters. And it's like, oh no, there was flies in the kitchen. Just throw it all away and we'll order pizza. And they just do it. And you're not supposed to think about that. But as a person who has, a mortgage and, cat vet bills, and I got to pay for things, my insurance, to watch the amount of money, just like, I know what that would cost to just, every time they land at the heliport, 9 fucking limos show up. Like, and then they're making deals and it's like $40 million and they laugh and then a thing blows up and they laugh. And it's like, it hurts. And they're the Always Sunny crew. So you shouldn't like any of them. You shouldn't be rooting for any of them. But man, is it a fucking fun watch. And it's well written. Like, it's like, So I don't care who fucking wins. I'm here to watch them fucking stab each other and fucking I can't go into that relationship or the oh my god. She swallowed it? Yeah, she put it back in my mouth. Yeah, I did it in her mouth and she put it back. And it's just like, why? Go watch Succession. I haven't finished, by the way. I just started season 3. There's 4 seasons. So I'm season 1 and season 2. And a show is good when you talk to the person who got you into it. And they don't remember what happened in seasons 1 and 2. Of course, all they remember is seasons 3 and 4. It's like the Farscape thing. You watch Farscape, you get to season 1, it's like a little rough. Season 2 is like, oh man, how could the show get any better? And then season 3 starts and you're like, I remember now. Yeah, I'm assuming Succession's about to get fucking crazy. All right, we got one left to do. Let's do it. God, that's poorly drawn. Look at her foot. How did that make it past the filter that is me literally editing that photo to be that aspect ratio? Anyway, the last one, the big one. And honestly, the most premium feeling of maybe the whole group. The SMSL D400. And so I've done one of these units in silver. Do I have one over there? I feel like I've done a silver one of these. Where still a solid aluminum case. And then all they've done for like style is just go voop, 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 SMSL, voop, and knob in the middle and screen on the far left. And it just looks the part of an expensive unit. More than almost all these. Maybe the Fosi still feels a little more expensive. But I don't know. Something about expensive things means it has to be boring looking too. It's got like a weird combination of like very, very, very ornate, yet somehow still boring. But it looks great in silver. So you get your digital knob. You can control plus 1.5. The back of this, I love this for the back of it. Other than the fucking giant MQA logo, which you could scratch off with a goddamn angle grinder, look how it's laid out. Like, they just had the room. You've got big, fat, wide, like 1-inch high power switch. Probably 3/4 of an inch, actually. Power plug, II2S. A USB, optical, coaxial, AES, EBU. Then you have the left and right outputs and the outputs in the middle and the Bluetooth antenna on the far left. It's all in one straight line. This pleases me. As opposed to things that are like jammed in like 9 different things. Pleases me. if we get to the menu, you'll notice that it is highly lacking fucking color. And again, while I like color, at some point, like a splash of color for no reason feels unnecessary, and it's just be what you be. So we got, it says all, which means the outputs. You got the volume here. It says PCM 441 and USB-B. God, I hope you're the remote. You are the remote. Okay, cool. You're an RC8C. So you get the basic remote volume up and down. You get to pick nothing with the left and right. The up and down on this does nothing unless you're in the menu. Mute obviously says mute in lowercase because it's refined and nice. And the font looks good and the screen is really clear. This also, by the way, does the little red light. Although that seems duller than the last one. Maybe a little duller than the last one. Duller than the raw one? I don't know. SMSL when you're turning it on. System initialization. One word, no space comes on. Here's the menu. Here's where it starts getting into like, ooh, this feels nice. This feels like what everyone dreamed their best Blu-ray player would look like. So now we get inputs, outputs, PCM filter, DSD filter, sound color. See how it doesn't fucking quite fit and they have to like scroll the word as it's going over it? We're not quite there yet. But then you have a pre-mode, funky, which it cuts off because it scrolls so fast, so you don't get to see the F in it. IIS2 mode, DSD channel, which just becomes channel. Uyo phase, dimmer. Actually, let me see the dimmer and brightness. Brightness all the way up. Oh no, brightness at 10%. Wonder why I can't read this goddamn thing. Hold on, everyone. Oh, by the way, I don't think you need 99 fucking levels of brightness, but there's 99 levels of brightness on the wall. Reset, and then you're back to the beginning. So there, I'll scroll through and you can see it a little better now. So now you have the same options you did before, only this time laid out both nicer and worse. Because at least before I could read the fucking list and the words didn't go anywhere. Now you've got these awesome icons and like, just look at that DSD icon. I want a t-shirt with that on it. I don't even like listen to DSD, but at least it ain't MQA. But I want that DSD icon on there. That's awesome. You get to pick wide and narrow. Your outputs are all or pictures. Ooh, RCA is a full, I guess they were confusing. So that means the raw one must be an older firmware. Because that is a way cooler way to say RCA. Unless that was the old way and now they're just like 2 dots is fine. Anyway, all is in fucking red. Wait, let me see something. If I go to all, and there's so many options here. PCM filter. Standard selection. Just like me, super slow. Right, you get what this all is, right? We're not going to hit reset. We're just going to hold this, get out of it. Yeah, it says all, but it's not bright red. It's just nice. This just feels nice. This feels quality. It feels like Bruce Wayne. It feels like if they made a, when they make movies and TV shows, when they had to pick props to put in different rooms to make it feel like Bruce Wayne lives there, this would be on Bruce Wayne's fucking bedroom countertop. It's just nice. It's got a little bit of ooh, and it's well built, and the screen is polite. And the remote is black, and it just, ooh, ooh, ooh. This feels like an ad in Playboy magazine. It's like, ooh. Which, story time, before I go into the recommendations. Ohio, no one wants to be there, but my friend lives there. So I guess he wants to be there. Pawn shop, or it was called Treasures. It was a and they closed down because it should have been condemned when I went there the first time. It was hilariously bad. So we went to the other place called Second Chance. And the woman Mary there is super nice. And everything's marked way too high. Like there's a propeller from a boat, and it's marked like $850. And she thinks it's because the owner is a hoarder and he doesn't want to sell anything, so he marks everything up absurdly. But then you can just talk to her, and she'll just give you the, like if you want to put $18 on a boat propeller, she'll probably sell you a boat propeller. Anyway, so I was there, and I saw this toaster from the 60s or 70s that was like, that's a man's toaster. I've seen the technology connection, so I bought it. It's a Toastmaster, not a Sunbeam. It needs to be exercised. And I bought a fan that's a big old GE that, you know, literally the back is perfect to fit an entire baby's head to get it chopped up by the blades. And then I was like, all right, I'll talk her down from these. And then I found a file cabinet with, it was labeled Playboys. All the years of Playboys. And I opened it up, and sure as shit, there were 1960s and 70s and 80s Playboys in there. And so I gathered up all the oldest ones I could find. It was a stack like yay big. And I walked to the front of the store and I said, Mary, I didn't know her name at this point, but I said, ma'am, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a $40 toaster and a $60 fan, and I'm not going to argue down the price. But you got to include these Playboys. And then she proceeded to say, where'd you find those? Because she was looking for them, apparently. She has the ones from the 50s in her house. And she took them away from me and said, you can't have these. Then she asked my name. And I said, Steve. And she says, all right, Steve, I like Steve's. And he gave me back the stack of like 12 Playboys and said, let's make a deal. So I took out a crisp $100 bill, my emergency 100, which I have to remember to put back. I handed her $100. I bought a toaster, which is immaculate. This is now the second video I'm talking about the immaculate toaster. I bought a GE fan that needs to be, let's just say, serviced. And she threw in a stack of fucking Playboys. And those Playboys have taught me one thing. This is the sort of shit you would see in a Playboy magazine. Just like the I Want to Live Like Hugh Hefner audio equipment. And the stuff from I was reading like early 2000s and I browsed through the 80s one, which the articles, by the way, are fantastic. Like, actually, I thought there was a meme, but the writing in Playboy magazine, at least back then, was fucking top notch. Because it was like the internet. Playboy magazine was the internet, where you open it up, there's interesting articles, there's shootouts between snowmobiles, because they do something different every fucking month, and then there's like political shit, and funny cartoons, and then titties, and then more funny cartoons, and more articles, and then titties. It's the internet. A Playboy magazine is an analog version of the internet. Fucking fight me. You can fit so many DACs in this thing. Also, looking at the specs on this son of a bitch, it should be the best one here. Because it has dual AKM 4499EX, the top of the line DACs. It's got two of the best ever existing. And it's got a negative 124 dB total harmonic distortion plus noise. And everything's gold plated. Like, this reads, other than the MQA shit, distortion in the 5 decibels, 0.00006 is absurdly low. Like, everything about this screams this should be the best DAC they sell on the fucking site. And it still racks in at over $600, $620. But holy shit, if everything that I just read combines into this and it looks like this, get it in silver, by the way. This could be like an actual, like, keep out and use sort of DAC. So yeah, that's this thing. I hope it sounds... To quote one of my favorite movies, which I won't be talking about, Shawshank Redemption, I hope the D400 sounds as blue as I think does in my dreams. Or something along those lines. I might have been talking about the Pacific Ocean. Anyway, we're going to end this on 2 anime movie recommendations. And the reason Megumin was up there is because she's one of the movies. KonoSuba, Legend of Crimson. Now, this kind of requires you to have seen the anime. Or at least heard of it. Because the movie Legend of Crimson, which it goes to the Crimson Witch Village, and there's a whole thing, and Yun is there, and let's just... I will watch that movie as a movie. Like, not as like, oh, I like the anime, and this is an anime movie. It is a movie. It has a climactic fight that's 40 fucking minutes long, and like multiple parts and clever actions, and the animation quality is just top notch because it's a movie, and it's KonoSuba, which, if you don't know, is an isekai. Back when isekais were still cool, but it was actually making fun of isekais. So that's why it's the best isekai, because its self-awareness is awesome. Oh, another thing I've heard to tell you about Farscape is that John Crichton will constantly whip out human like anecdotes. He'll talk about the Three Stooges. He'll call a little dog thing looking things Lassie. Like, it's amazing. But KonoSuba is an isekai where guy dies. I shouldn't have to explain KonoSuba or what an isekai is, but guy dies. Goddess says, hey, where do you want to go? Go to this place. I'm going to resurrect you as a hero. And he's like, fine, but bitch, I'm taking you because you're a bitch. You'll understand when you see it. So there's him and a goddess trapped in the world, and then they have a team of adventurers, and they get into all sorts of antics, and it's hilarious comedy. And you get it. Once you've seen it, you get it. And the movie is just that with a budget. And then then you watch season 3, which came out in 2019. Jesus Christ. There must have been that. It must have been between season 1 and 2. Anyway, and it's still solid to this fucking moment. Every season has been god tier, funny, and like exciting and heartfelt, and everyone loves Mega Meme. But I think Wiz, man. Wiz, or I don't know, maybe Eris. Maybe my headphone was named after a goddess from that show and not from the actual Greek one. Because get it? Harmonic died, and gods. They did all the gods, the Zeus and the Athena, and what was that one? What are you? What are you? Anyway, yeah, go watch KonoSuba. But here's another movie that you'd have to watch the show before you watch the movie, the Youjo Senki movie, which is Saga of Tanya the Evil, which is a cosplay that's banned at all the cosplay events because it looks too much like a Nazi. Too much like. She's not. All right, I'm going to spoiler a little bit of that show because people will look up Saga of Tanya the Evil or Youjo Senki, and you're going to see a little blonde girl like this tall, and she's going to be carrying a gun like Zeus, you're a perv. That little blonde girl was designed specifically to not be sexually attractive. Because there's another thing you need to know about that little blonde girl that you won't know till you watch episode 2. She is a 40-year-old Japanese man, or a 45-year-old Japanese salaryman. So just like KonoSuba is an isekai, where Kazuma dies and then gets resurrected, this old Japanese prick who just fired somebody gets shoved in front of a train by the person he fired because of a fit of rage because he was a dick. And then God comes down, literally says, hey, you're a dick. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Puts him in the body of a baby blonde girl in an alternate reality where basically we're about 10 or 12 years from the beginning of World War I-ish. But it's like the fatherland and the motherland, but they're not called the same. And all the memories are still in this guy / Tanya, who's an orphan. And then she grows up enough to like talk and make sense. And let me tell you, watching someone who has the same motivations as I do, as I am a 45-year-old Japanese businessman, to just not fucking be here, and yet just keeps like she's trying to end the war. So she starts giving like, hey, like she's seen this happen. She's seen World War I because she's a 45-year-old Japanese businessman. Like, hey, here's what you should do to win this. And they start looking at her like she's a strategist. And then turns out she's got a great affinity for the magic system. There actually is a magic system in this world, which is perfect because then it means they can fly. And that when they shoot bullets, they can use magic to make them like the size of a Volkswagen when they hit things. And go watch Saga of Tanya the Evil to get to the movie, which is the only thing we've got until another season is fucking made. I'm gonna kill somebody. It's such a good show. It's like there's more political drama shit, more you're following these countries who are at war and the supply lines and trade agreements, and Tanya is just running away with like she's in charge of like the lead assault because she's this little fucking blonde witch who just happens to be able to control the magic system better than almost anybody. And so she's a murder machine. So now you got this businessman who doesn't want to be there, who doesn't want to be fighting, who's at the fucking tip of the spear in all these flying mage assaults in World War I, and the fucking music. And let me tell you about the explosions. If you want to scare somebody who really loves their sound system, put on Saga of Tanya the Evil. Movie, TV show, doesn't matter. Because what they do with the explosions, and I'm pretty sure this is how they did that, is they filmed a real explosion as well as they could. Nice and clean, clear. Then they took a very large speaker that was kind of on its way out, and they plugged in way too much wattage to it, and then put the same microphones they recorded the explosion 10 feet away from that speaker that they're about to explode. And they played the explosion sound and recorded the speaker exploding. And so when you watch the show or movie, the movie's amazing, and an explosion happens on screen, it sounds like your speakers are tearing themselves apart because they recorded a speaker tearing itself apart. And you will have a fucking heart attack. I remember showing it to DMS when he was here. It was like, oh my God, you're too loud. And he could play it real quiet, and it's still like that sound of breaking. So I don't know if I'm breaking my actual speakers. I just keep turning it up. Anyway, yeah, no. Tanya the Evil, man. Fuck, man. Just, it resonates with, I would do exactly the same shit, and it's kind of cool that I'm a flying mage girl that can blow up anything, but I just want a fucking vacation, and also, fuck God. That was, like, that's going to be in the subtitles of this video. Anyway, Patreon and Subscribestar support this channel. If you like this, I don't know, I've never done this before, but fucking DAC videos are so boring, I gotta do something. So let me know, support this video, share it around, become a patron. Tell me with your mouth and with your money. Do you like this channel? Do you like my advice? Have I helped you or hurt you? If I've hurt you, then there's plenty of other people who can help you, or at least try. And if you'd like to show your support, Patreon, Subscribestar, $5 a month, you get to see reviews early. Probably like this one, although this one's probably coming out real soon because I'm running out of reviews. But usually I have like 6 or 7, which is 21 days worth of videos, just not public, but on there. So you can go and watch those early. All my IM videos are on there free of charge. If you're watching this video and you're not a patron or not a Subscribestar subscriber and you want to see IM videos that I've made but not made public yet, you can go there, find the posts and watch them, because I've just got so many IMs to do anyway. But yeah, $5 a month, see reviews early, participate in yard sales, 1st to the 10th of every month. Lossless sound demos, which I need to catch up on. I apologize, I'm probably still way behind, although I do have plans to do them all. And now I'm doing a Q&A for $5 patrons where you all get to ask a question, and then I will answer it in a live video, which you can all see live without paying. At the end of the month, you can see the answers, but you have to pay to ask the questions. Or you become a $10 patron, which you can join the patronage chat with 100 and some odd people who are just like you, dumb enough to pay me $10 a month, and therefore my best friends in the whole goddamn world, because I will answer your questions morning, noon, day, or night. And once you're in the $10 chat, you also get into a lifetime swap meet channel to buy, sell, and trade gear, which as an audiophile is a requirement because we got lots of shit to sell and buy. So there you go. Yeah, this one went well. It is nearly 1 in the morning, and I'm pretty sure I started this at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Not bad. A quick 2.5 hours work. So yeah, I don't know how long this video is. Thank you for sticking around for the whole thing. Tell me what you think about my recommendations here. Keep the business flowing alive. I also have a public Telegram chat. You know, there's a fucking link tree with all my socials. Just find me on there. Twitter, Instagram. I not really don't check Reddit anymore. I do miss Reddit, but I'm banned from our Audiophile and our headphones, so what's the point? Except RZ Reviews still exists, and you should be there. But anyway, yeah, I'm done. You're done. We're done. Megamine, you done? You better be. That's a fucking terrible drawing. It looks like I drew that. And I'll see you all for the second part of this, where I actually assess the sound and probably make more recommendations, because this seems like fun.